3rd and 13. Got to make it to the 42 for the first. Picked off Polamalu. Polamalu going right. The field is open. Aaron Smith shields. Flacco. Polamalu takes it home. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh might be bound for that thanks to number 43.
Without a close second, the greatest moment in Heinz Field history. I would know because I was there in the stadium that night to watch that one. Hi and hello, and welcome to the Dave Dameshek football program, presented as always by our pals over at Zaxby's, home of the famous chicken fingers, wings, and salads. We're ready to roll for Week 5. I hope and trust.
Why did you play that highlight?
Because they're about to play each other again. What do you mean, why did I play it?
Just, you know.
I like my history.
It seems like there's other things going on in the league besides a 1-3 and a 2-2 team going after one another.
No, I want this show to be 100%
You got the Rams and the
free.
Seahawks at 3-1 going Thursday night.
Listen, we're
just
going to get
saying,
into
it
all
seems
of
like
it.
you could highlight something else that's maybe a little bit more interesting.
Let me have my moment.
All
I
right,
like the
fine.
Steelers. After this game on Sunday, it's probably, well, now it really is done after that. Well, then the Steelers are going to play your Chargers, and then
Right.
it'll really, really be done. Anywho, let's not get negative already. Let's talk about the great game of pro football.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What do you mean it's over after this week?
If
Lamar
they're 1-4.
Jackson has completely come down to earth. All the incoming I took for saying Lamar Jackson for Baker Mayfield, you crazy? Look at me. I feel vindicated now. The guy has looked like the quarterback that many people said, give him a little bit longer. Let's see what we got. Cardinals, Dolphins, not a lot of defense there. Let's see against and the Steelers are a legitimate defense. That has not changed. Big Ben Roethlisberger injury notwithstanding, departure of Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. Don't be so soon to write off your Steelers.
Listen, I'm not being just, falsely modest about my favorite football team.
Right.
If that defense plays to its pedigree,
Which it should be able to.
well, but as we talk about for the last month or so, this is a coaches' league now, and I am not positive that Mike Tomlin and Keith Butler are up to the task in a league that has Andy
Wait a
Reid
minute.
and
So
Bill
Freddie
Belichick.
Kitchens is over John Harbaugh, but
Didn't
Mike
say that.
Tomlin's not?
I didn't say that either. We're going to dig into
All right,
this, though, because it is fascinating.
I always do that. I'm sorry.
To do. We have our Red Challenge flag picks for Week 5. Among the many exciting games, yes, Ravens-Steelers, the renewal of the best rivalry in pro football in the 21st century, certainly, I think. But one of the non-divisional best rivalries now for really the Super Bowl era is the Cowboys and Packers. They're getting it on. Of course, Super Bowls 1 and 2, the course of Super Bowl era history would be wildly different. So much so, you could even have the trophy not named Lombardi. It could be the Landry Trophy because twice, back-to-back games, the Packers barely win on the last play of the game, 2 straight seasons. That's how the Packers get to those 2 Super Bowls and win them. Cowboys would have won those 2, and so it would be the Landry Trophy instead.
Nice little bit of history there.
Hey, everybody. That I didn't introduce
All right,
you. He's
everybody.
one half of the finest radio show in all the land.
Stop it.
Petros and Money. Track that one down on iHeartRadio.
It's Eddie.
He is the voice of your Los Angeles Chargers. No, that's not this guy. Yeah, not that guy. This guy. That's our seat warmer over there for prima donna.
Say something,
handsome
Eddie.
Hank Hodgson.
This seat is exquisite.
Well done.
The
done.
dolphins
And you see him on
stink.
everything else all over the place here. Oh, including NFL Now, doing a sincerely gangbusters job over there, chopping up the great game of football on Tuesdays, on Thursdays and Fridays. Wait a second, that quickly, he's out there. Like I say,
yeah.
lot of stuff going on right
On
now.
UK time, this guy here, huh?
Well, that's right, because it's the start of UK football this weekend, and so I
So
assume.
now he's Mr. Important. Oh, I get to show up late everywhere because I'm so busy.
You're
Everybody.
just lucky to have me, quite honestly.
I mean, you're-
if that's not enough, Money, sorry I didn't show up on time or anything.
Hey, come
I
on,
mean,
it's
what
a
kind of
punctual
behavior?
league.
What kind of behavior is that?
Hey, no one ever tells me anything. I'm just like, hey, we're just doing
Now
a
you're going to
mic-
throw the producers under the bus?
For sure.
Holy cow.
I'm throwing everyone
Adam
under the
Thielen
bus.
over here. Jeez.
I think it's time for you, Spaghetti, to issue a formal apology. I guess.
Yeah, let's do it.
Like Kirk Cousins had to for. I
Not
don't know
now.
what
Not
you
now.
did, but
Eddie's had his airtime.
That
He
was
doesn't need
embarrassing.
anymore.
Did you like his English accent?
I didn't hear it.
Do you like it when people? Do you like when
Didn't hear
it's a UK football game that all the American sports
loves it.
outlets, they take it upon themselves to then do their best British accent.
I actually used social media this morning as a way to issue my annual statement on that and to warn people that that's not a good thing to do and that they should try and steer clear of it. For example, when American sports are on TV in the UK, do you think everyone walks around, paints themselves orange? Hey, man! Hey, look at this! It's baseball!
Well done. Well done.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
Well done.
Carrot
way
Top.
to slide that in there.
Carrot Top is the anomaly in actual comedy, but it's funny that sports media in the last 5 to 10 years is now home of all costumes and props. Like
Right.
in lieu of being actually clever, like let's just make our guys look absurd, and it works, especially in Halloween month here. But let's get into
Halloween is
the NFL slate for Week 5, or I should say, we'll do that in a minute. We'll get to the Red Challenge flag picks. Welcome back from your travels abroad,
Thank you.
Handsome Hank. Matt Money Smith, a pleasure to see you as always.
Great to be here.
round it out, it's Matt Money Smith and our pal, the Englishman and resident Miami Dolphins fan, tenuous though that relationship may be at this point.
It's a good time down there. By the way to go on that. It's the first time I've been in that stadium since they redid it. Talk about a great spot.
Really?
It's nice, isn't
Oh,
it?
man, did they do a great job with that. And I had security guard Brent
Oh,
take
I know
me
Brent.
through. You know Brent,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, wonderful guy.
I know Brent.
Been there for 30 years,
Yep.
and I had to get down on the field. I had a 30-minute window in pregame where DJ and I made our way down on the field, do our laps, say hi to a
Shake
few
a couple
people.
hands.
And he took us through the shortcut, which was the nightclub.
You
that
stepped
they
on
have
the orange carpet.
in the I think it's called Live or
Live.
Live. Live, L-I-V.
Live, I don't know. You go.
And I would just say there were some people in interesting costumes that that I guess are workers there. I don't know exactly what their job is,
Right.
but I was taken aback and my mouth was agape at what I witnessed 30 minutes prior to kickoff.
Before kickoff, you were already taken
Before
aback.
kickoff, yes,
Wow.
inside of Live.
Right.
It is something what they got going down there at the Hard Rock Stadium.
I have
It
no
certainly
mental
doesn't have
image.
dignity, does it?
Imagine a club that has no windows. Okay.
I'm thinking of
Like
Miami.
every good
I'm not
club.
talking
Yes.
about. I'm not talking about a private club within the stadium. I'm talking about Miami. Period.
Oh.
Everybody talks. Oh, the best place in America, the most fun place. I can't conceive of what it's like there. How cuckoo it is.
It is. It's
Well,
nuts.
you've never been.
I mean, not in
This
30
year,
years.
Super Bowl. You'll
Yeah,
be
we're
there.
gonna get. Well, let's
But
go
what
there.
a great job
Let's-
on the stadium. I just want to say that.
Thanks a lot,
Awesome
Money.
stadium, intimate.
Covered, because I mean the biggest problem was if you went there in September, you could very
die.
well expire in the
Yes.
top deck. But now it's covered, and that's nice.
Here's
job,
a
Miami.
tease. The Dolphins might be the correct choice for something that if we have time to do, a question that I'd like to ask the two of you in just a little bit. We'll get to it.
Ooh,
In the meantime,
exciting.
let's get to Zaxby's Fresh Takes, presented by, as always, our pals over there. Again,
There they
I
are.
can't say it enough, the famous Fingers Chickens. Famous chicken fingers and salads.
Salads.
Fingers.
And Zalads. Right?
Salads.
Zalads. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. Here's today's question. I don't know if you've noticed it. I, for the record, and have been arguing against parity for the better part of this century at least. My most curmudgeonly take in all of sports is March Madness. Lots of fun. Not the best way to determine who the best team in the country is. I understand why leagues and networks like to have as many teams being relevant as long into the season as possible. But I like a meritocracy, as I say. And so I'm on the wrong side of things right now because outside of the Chiefs and the Patriots, the clear-cut two best in the AFC right now, who's good? Do you know there's only one other team with a winning record?
This isn't the one that the answer was the Miami Dolphins.
No,
was it?
this is not it.
No,
They're
okay.
not going to
Just-
be
I-
one
yeah,
of
I
these
just wanna
teams
make sure.
that will be the answer here. I want to see if we can figure out amongst ourselves here. Let's do it democratically and vote on how this AFC is going to seed out come January.
6 playoff
here.
teams.
The 6
Yeah.
playoff teams. So I think we can lock in pretty safely that the
Let's
Patriots
have
are
those
going to win
two.
their
Yep.
division and the Chiefs are going to win theirs, and what's further, they're going to be the top 2 seeds. But let's address the small matter of who the other 4 teams
Mm-hmm.
are going to be, and let's do it with a vote of hands, shall we?
Okay. So
Okay,
should we
sure.
do the other 2 divisions then to start? The
Let's
North
start
and the
that
South?
way. Well done, Matt Money Smith.
Okay.
Let's start with the AFC North. Who's going to win that division? Let's start with the Cleveland Browns. Spaghetti, get in on this.
I don't
Cleveland
think
Browns.
that the hand-raising thing's going to work well for people listening.
That's a
Well,
good
I'll call
point.
it out. Matt Money Smith just raised his hand for the Browns.
I say
Okay.
Browns, yes.
Okay.
Handsome, you're
I
voting.
didn't raise my hand, just
So
for
not
people
the
listening.
Browns.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And Eddie Spaghetti.
I did not raise my hand for the Browns.
So not the Browns. I just can't figure out who is going to win this division.
Well,
I'm not going to raise my hand either on this one
Okay.
then. But do we think then that if it's not the Browns, does the North only
I
provide
can tell you it's
us-
not the Bengals. We can eliminate
Yeah.
them. It is
So
definitely
let's-
not
so
the
let's-
Bengals. So
can
it
we
brings us
think
to
of
the
any
Ravens
other
and the
teams?
If
Steelers.
it isn't, then we can go from there. So, all right, let's go around then, Handsome. You have me intrigued. Who's going to win the North?
I'm going to say the same as I said before the season. The Baltimore Ravens are going to win
Okay,
the North.
good pick. You looked a lot better a fortnight ago than you did.
There's your hand. Well
That's
done.
my hand.
Handsome
I just
Hank
wanted to make
raises
sure
his
that
hand
that
in
happened.
favor of the Birds.
I got the Browns.
And you got the Browns right, of course. I already forgot. This hand thing is
The hand
already
thing.
It's a little
confusing.
confusing.
And Eddie Spaghetti,
Eddie?
I'll say you.
I will raise my hand for the Ravens. As I told you on the earlier pod this week, I think a big game this year is going to be when the Patriots come to Baltimore for the Ravens. I just really believe in them and Lamar Jackson, so they're my pick.
All right, I don't know. In some years, that might be a favorable matchup for the Ravens. I think that as well as that defense is playing up in Foxborough, I don't know that the Ravens' attack is going to spook Belichick's defense this season. And so no one's taking the Steelers. And are we saying that
Are
there's
you?
I'm not taking. I'm going to
So
take.
you got to
the
raise your
You're
hand.
taking the
Oh,
Ravens.
you
I'm gonna take
raised
the
it.
Ravens.
Okay.
There, I
all
just
right.
raised my hand.
Thank you for raising
the
it.
Ravens. So that's either the 3 or 4 seed. So then to the South we go.
Wait a
How
minute.
many-
Can I just a smidge of analysis here? Or I said on your part, on
Okay,
the three
you're
of
right.
yous.
You're right. Go with the Browns. Everybody's
Like-
very excited
Well,
once
no,
again.
I'm just
Everybody was
asking-
excited for 6 months.
Right.
Then they
Then
stopped,
they weren't excited.
and now everybody's excited.
Now they
again.
won, and
I'm
now
asking,
everyone's excited.
And look, I will acknowledge my concern with the Browns. Their next 3 are
Right.
at the 49ers, at the Patriots, and sandwiched between those two. I can't remember who they have at home, but it's someone that's not easy either. Their next 3 are tough.
Yep.
But at the same time, I just feel like we just saw 2 games from the Ravens throw the score out against the Chiefs. That wasn't that close of a game. I mean, they got manhandled by the Chiefs.
Right.
And really, the Browns, they roughed them up pretty darn good. Like, to me, that means there's a lot of questions about that team. And like, hey, this Lamar Jackson thing isn't what everyone wants it to be based on the first 2 games because of those opponents he played. And now we're seeing this might be a struggle, and that defense might not be as good as everybody thinks it is because they lost some key pieces. And, Freddie Kitchens and the Browns were able to exploit that pretty darn easy, as did the Chiefs.
I just feel like I think the defense is the issue, and it feels like it can be fixed. They've proven that they've been able to do it before. The pieces are still in place. There's definitely work to be done, but it's not like they are devoid of any talent that could actually turn that around. And we're a month into the season, and I feel like the defense could be fixed in going into the next 3 quarters of the season, where and the offense is already proven to be one that can score points and
You like their
keep up
defense
with
better
people.
than the Browns' defense?
Not now, but no. I mean, I don't
That's
think
what I feel,
I don't think I'll ever get to that point.
Right.
But I like their offense probably.
That's
better
kind of
than
where
I
I'm
like the
going. It's
Browns'
like
offense.
I like the Browns' defense better. I like Baker Mayfield more. Mm-hmm. So I just feel like the Browns are the better choice there.
Well, believe me, I'll play devil's Dameshek on behalf of my favorite team, the Steelers. I don't think that they're a gangbusters team. Obviously, they have their backup quarterback playing for the rest of the season. How high can you be on that team? And they don't have Juju aside. They don't have a ton of weapons out there on offense. However, as I say, if the defense were to play to its pedigree for the rest of the season, and they take care of the ball as they always say, and play complementary offense, if they can beat the Ravens this week and get through the first 5 games with the Browns losing up in San Francisco, the Steelers are in first place, and then it's kind of back to the original point, 3 mediocre teams fighting it out in a mediocre division. The reason I ultimately will take the Ravens is, again, because of the parity/mediocrity, which is that when the Ravens, they're kryptonite, good teams, legitimately, and I mean it. When they play good teams, they get exposed. However, most of the league isn't good, so they should be able to win more often than they lose.
How many teams in the division have double-digit wins by the end of the season?
Maybe
0
one.
or 1.
I'm going to go with 1.
1.
Yeah.
With you.
But
Okay.
just 10
All right.
wins.
Next, the South and Money. I'll start with you.
Dave,
on
do you
this
mind
one.
if I throw your cushion? I'm sorry.
It's
I-
not
I
your
know,
living
same
room.
thing.
No, we're way ahead of you. on
I
that.
know
We don't
you
like-
and Mrs. Dameshek have redesigned recently, but
Yeah.
I don't like your
She
cushions.
kept her name. She didn't want it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not
Mrs.
surprised.
Dameshek.
Not surprised.
Listen, what happened, and
That's what do you do. Sorry, I just felt like it.
the South. Who do you got?
Yeah.
Who do I have in the South?
Yeah. Whoever you got, they should get
I
themselves
know.
some Zaxby's. That's the home. That's all.
That's the home
where
of
all that-
Zaxby's.
Why are you starting with me?
You could make a case for any. I mean,
You
if you want to
can.
talk about parity, all 4 teams, 2 and
Yep.
2.
I think I'm gonna take the Jags. I know, but just that defense, man. That defense looks so freaking good.
Yeah.
And you see it with the Bears and how good that defense is. You see it with the Saints and Teddy Bridgewater. Like, this season is, and I think, like you just detailed, you might see it with the Steelers. When you have a defense that is that good, and I'll put this qualifier on it. If they can fix things with Jalen Ramsey, and I think they can, because I think if Shad Khan, not Shad Khan. If
Shad Khan can,
right?
but DJ Shark can't.
There you go. If he can get it right with Ramsey, I'd take the Jags.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Look
I
at
mean,
their
I
next
think it would
three.
be awesome. I
At
think
the
it'd be a great
Panthers,
story.
they get the Saints at home. I think it lines up pretty well for them.
I mean, I've been saying this for 3 or 4 weeks now. The obvious thing in our new look NFL, in which teams trade big name guys before the season and even in season, the move that's obvious from both sides: send Tyreek Hill to Jacksonville and send Jalen Ramsey up to KC. KC needs to do something, and they ain't going to get, even if, let's say, Von Miller is available based on where the Broncos are, they're not going to trade him within the division.
Right.
So I don't know exactly what else they can do to fix things in KC, but that defense is the looming issue for them. Spaghetti, how say you in the South?
I'll put my hand up for the Jaguars as well. I think they're going to make the playoffs.
Here's the thing with the Jags too, is the NFL season, like life itself, is long. People always think it's super short, but in fact, it will go on and on much longer than you feel. We're prisoners of the moment right now. And so Gardner Minshew Mania and everything else, but what will give them a nice boost is when Nick Foles comes back. When Minshew drops off, which he almost invariably will a little bit, all of a sudden they'll inject Nick Foles into the situation, and that'll probably boost them a little bit. Is that a reasonable
I think so.
hypothesis?
I just think of all the backup quarterbacks, Minshew's been the most impressive.
Yeah.
He's winning games.
Right.
He's not managing. He's winning games for them.
Exactly. And if he keeps playing at this level, there will be a question when Foles is healthy again of do you automatically reinsert Nick Foles there?
Poor Nick Foles. Okay, Handsome, who you got?
I'm going to go with the Texans. I still, and again, it comes back to the same thing I just said, and I'm inspired by your podcast earlier in the week. September is the new August in terms of not necessarily believing
Thanks
what
for
you're
listening,
seeing.
Handsome.
And I believe that I went into the season believing that the Texans was a good team with a great offense and a defense that would come together. And I still think that going into October, November, and December is something that will happen.
There was a little clip right there of Laramie Tunsil is so good, and you know this as a Dolphins fan. Anytime he and Bosa were one-on-one, he locked him up.
Yep.
I mean, and since they made that adjustment to put Sharping and Howard in there on that offensive line looks good now.
Yeah.
I know last week, obviously the Panthers got after him. They did some things. Ron Rivera was just sending the house, I think, nonstop, and they were slow to adjust to that. But that's why it's such a tough one between those two. And obviously, are you going to take Gardner Minshew or Deshaun Watson? I mean, that's the case for the Texans.
But again, I was just about ready to say the Colts certainly. Again, prisoners of the moment are we, and so we feel like the Colts are, they can't. What are they going to do? But in this division, 9-7, 10-6 might win it, and they're highly likely to take a loss on Sunday night against the Chiefs in Arrowhead. But after that, I still think this Colts team is fine. They have the best defense. They have the best offensive line in the division. Maybe
they don't have the best defense. Jaguars have the best defense in the division.
Well, I guess maybe I've assumed that Jalen Ramsey and that mess is going.
Yeah, I'm not as confident as you are that that's going to get resolved.
Because the Texans have serious secondary issues. So yes, I guess I'm projecting it as though Ramsey is going to be okay, and they're going to figure that out because he's too good. You just can't trade. It's like what the Dolphins did with Tunsil. I get it. You want to amass picks, but you can't trade a dominant.
Well, it's different. I mean, they're at different stages. Like their Jags are not in a.
But I'm just saying,
let's rebuild.
To me, those are the two positions. Don't trade the best.
You can't
corner
find
in the
those
league.
guys.
Figure it out. Make it work. Throw extra money at them.
Well, it does seem like if you just wait it out, all the emotions kind of settle down. But right now, it feels like, this is untenable. They're going to have to deal Jalen Ramsey at some point. They're not going to let him sit on the bench for the rest of the year. Although, again, it's a new world that we live in.
And the funny thing is,
you watch Levy and Bell do it. So
you could have inserted Titans for the Colts, and it would have been totally fine.
Don't even mention them.
Taylor Lewan's coming back. His suspension has now come to an end. One of the best left tackles. Now you get some protection for Marcus Mariota.
And a good defense.
Good defense. Like that's I don't know if 10 wins does it. I think it might be 9. And I think it might be a 9-7 division champ.
And back to our point about mediocrity. It's a bad look for the AFC. I don't care what you say. It's a bad look for pro football.
But it's early.
If you have 2, and this is plausible, you could have 2 division champs in the AFC with 8 wins. That would be bad. If the South and North both produce.
I don't think
8,
that would
no.
that would happen.
Okay,
But-
so we've resolved nothing in the South because we've got 2 Jags. I'm going to take the Texans, but the Colts are.
So
I
2 to
think
2.
the Titans could be. I'll take one of the others. You know what? I'll go Texans just to keep it clean.
Okay.
Because that was my preseason pick, so I'll stick with that.
That seems less clean because now we're
I have
tied.
2 from the South as well.
You have 2 teams from the South? You have a wild card going to a South team?
Texans and Jags.
Money?
I'm with money on that. I think the Jags are basically a mirror image of what they were 2
Yeah,
years
it's not
ago.
going to be 2 from the North. So.
Okay,
you
so
know.
let's go through. The Bills
2
are
from
the
the West,
only.
2 from the
The
South.
Bills are 3-1. By the way, I think they lose in Tennessee this week, so boosting the Titans' chances and obviously diminishing.
That's a good question.
theirs.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to. Oof, boy, this is a mess, isn't it? Of a topic. I'm with you. I'm going to take out the South. Division winner only. I do think the Bills get there because they've got 3 buys left.
They've got
2 Dolphins
yeah,
and a Jets.
exactly.
So they got 3 wins right now. That gets
Good
them
point.
to 6.
Good point
You
on
know.
that one. Yeah, right.
That helps.
And then we have
And
the
that defense
Chargers.
is
Do
good
we
enough.
agree the Chargers, despite
Yes.
all the injuries once again,
Yes.
that they're going to get
They're
one
the
of those
5th
2
seed.
seeds?
Another guy
They're
on
the
the
5th
IR
seed.
today, Dontrell Inman. They are now down to they'll be playing 3 practice squad wide receivers this week against the Broncos. 3. I mean,
Sheesh.
it is nuts what is happening to that team.
It's going to be embarrassing when they struggle with the Broncos. But you forecasted that they might struggle with the Dolphins, and at halftime, I thought, oh no, Matt Money Smith is sage.
And look, as we're looking at Phillip Rivers right now, just think about, and I've said this repeatedly all week because I really was dumbfounded by it. This guy has got his RB2 and his RB4, his wide receiver 3, 4, and 5. Jeremy Davis caught his first pass of the season. Andre Patton caught his first pass of his career. Troymaine Pope, these are names you don't know, caught his first touchdown reception of his career. And the guy has the #1 Pro Football Focus QB rating of the week. He completed 80% of his passes for 2 touchdowns and a QB rating of 130. It's ridiculous what that guy does.
I'm
It
proud
just
of
is.
Money for being a company man
Yes,
for the Bulls.
if nothing else.
If
It really.
nothing else,
when I
it's
looked down
easier
and I
to
was
make
like,
an excuse.
9 receivers? That guy completed passes. Lance Kendricks, who joined the team 9 days ago, and he was his leading tight end. Like, it's crazy.
Okay, so how do we have this then? So we have the Ravens getting
Ravens?
the division,
I got the Browns.
and no one from the North. Okay,
you're wrong about that.
But we're going Democratic.
Division only in the North.
Ravens are the 3rd
Ravens.
seed. The Texans or the Jags are the 4
Right.
seed.
Right.
The Chargers are the
Chargers,
5.
And now we
then
fight over the 6.
Either the Bills or
Or the Jags or
whichever
Texans.
South
I-
team misses out.
You know what? The more I think it through, I think it is the Ravens get it, but I think the Browns end up winning the division. But then that'll all go down the tubes if the Steelers vanquish the Ravens. Then they're truly going to be exposed at that point.
Yeah.
Can I cheat and look at the Bills' schedule?
Please, but
Because I
you've
think-
already made the best point of all.
Well,
that
I mean-
Right.
they have 3 gimmies
They
still
have
left
those
on
3
the schedule.
gimmies. They play the NFC North, which is
Right.
And the
which
Jets,
is-
by the way, are not going to be a gimme when Sam
Right.
Darnold comes back.
And then I think they're playing a 3rd place schedule in the AFC.
Right. So we got the 3 gimmies. Right? So what do we have to find? 9 wins? That's what we're looking for. So we got the 3, the Jets and the 2 Dolphins. Now
Gets you
they're
to
at 6.
6.
We got to find 3. At Patriots, no. At Steelers, is Mason Rudolph going to crack the code that is probably the second best defense in the AFC right now?
Listen, don't just say Mason Rudolph because Jalen Samuels is in there
Yeah.
running some wildcat. You don't know what this team's going to do.
What's the Bengals head coach's name? Zach Taylor?
I think
Yep.
so.
Maybe recognize the Wildcats working for him.
Exactly.
And I don't know, make an adjustment. Maybe play some zone and run just 1 or 2
on
exotic
both
blitzes
sides-
against Mason Rudolph to see what happens.
2 guys on the Steelers that have splashed recently are Jalen Samuels and Minkah Fitzpatrick, and they wear numbers 38 and 39. And it's hard for me to get too excited about guys wearing those numbers.
Yep.
39 is a terrible number for a
bad
defensive
number.
back, and 38 for a runner. Just the same.
Does seem a bit practice squatty.
Yeah. So I don't know how excited. And then 2, 2 for our quarterback. What grown-up decides I'm going to wear number 2? You could go from 1 all the way up to 19, and you go with 2?
I've been saying, people have been
Jeter.
asking if Tua, if he goes to the Dolphins, who wears number 13, obviously that number's not going to be available to
Why
him.
not?
I don't think Marino's going to release that one.
Jake Scott,
People-
Super Bowl.
and-
One of the
and
great
Scotty.
trivia questions out
Right.
there to impress your friends with is, hey, who's the number 13 to win a Super Bowl MVP? It's remarkable that it isn't Dan Marino.
Right.
Who's his predecessor.
But like, why wouldn't Tua just own the number 2? Like, that could be his thing.
Okay, that
How
makes
about,
sense.
by
Like
the way-
RG3, I've long
Right.
said needs to wear 3.
3.
Finally, he does with the Ravens.
How about it looks like week 8, Bills at Browns. So there you go. That could end up being the
That could be the decider.
tiebreaker,
Yeah.
all of that for that final
Yep.
wild card
It's nice
spot.
how many of them, as
It'll
a
be
side
decided
note,
on the field.
I love that between that and Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, so many of those young guys are all on the AFC side, so we can look forward to these almost weekly matchups between the
Yep.
2018 QB class. All right, I don't know if we settled anything.
I think we did.
What we settled is that the Chiefs and Patriots have basically no competition unless the Chargers get right in time for
I
January.
think Eddie's just building a graphic which is going to show all of our picks and how the playoff race in the AFC is going to show.
And it's going to
turn
get
out.
blown to hell, and we're going to look like idiots.
It can just
No,
all
I think it'll be exactly right.
It's the top 2, and then it's just blurry.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it. It's a
Right.
big mess. Who
Yeah,
cares?
Doesn't
Don't
matter.
worry
Those
about
2
it.
teams are still going to meet in the AFC Championship game.
Basically,
So
that's
who
the bottom
cares?
line.
Like we it doesn't really matter.
It'll be an
the rest of
interesting
it.
path to that point.
Yeah.
If we've established anything, it's that. All right, we need to do something right now. So thus ends the Fresh Takes presented by our pals over at Zaxby's. Eddie Spaghetti, we need to, well, before we do the song thing, because I promised it.
Minimal
to
time
Hampton.
for tangent. That's
Well,
what I have
this
on
isn't
my
a tangent.
schedule.
This is something that came up the other day on the show, and I wanted to get your expert opinions on this. Both of you guys like your food. We like to have our culinary club around Football America when we have the opportunity when we're all on the road together.
Ooh, we're going to Mexico City as well. We need
Yeah,
to
we are.
we need to plan
and
that.
I'm coming in on Saturday.
Okay, good. Let's
Yes,
book something.
for sure.
Okay.
What? So the question was this: if you had to eat one NFL mascot, which would it be?
There's not only one answer to this.
Which is what?
A bear. Oh,
No.
roasted
No,
bear.
a
That would be
buffalo.
delicious.
A buffalo, bison.
No, a bear.
You've had bear.
I've never had bear. I've had bison. It's fine. It's
I-
good.
It's good.
But-
Bison's
But
you
I
say
like a
that.
bear.
A bear might taste good.
I think a bear would be
Why wouldn't a
delicious.
bear taste good? That
Some
makes
like
sense.
dark meat.
It's
Mm.
brawny like
Yeah.
like a cow or a steer. Why don't we eat
Yeah,
It's
bear?
not
roast a
like a
bear.
cow or a steer. It's
And bear-
muscle. It is swole. You need fat. No, muscle is tough. It's chewy.
You get one of those fat
want
ones at the end.
bison.
You get one of the
Forgive
ones
me,
who's
bears,
been
but
eating nuts all summer. Nuts? Do they eat
I've
nuts?
seen a lot of
Bears don't
fat
eat nuts.
bears. You would consider bears fit?
Absolutely.
You
They're
think-
wrecking machines.
No,
I didn't say
some
that they're not-
bears.
Well, listen, Vita Vea is also a wrecking machine. Doesn't mean he's fit.
Right.
You guys are nuts.
Some bears. are gonna-
Bison, a bill, a buffalo. I mean, that's
Not a bill.
You are talking about. You're
A
talking.
bison.
I hate to do this.
Yeah.
I hate to embarrass you again, especially since I've explained this to you previously, Money. The Buffalo Bills
Yes, I know.
mascot
I
is
understand.
not a buffalo.
It's-
the city is named for the majestic
Yes.
beast. The football team, I mean, just insanely, and it's why they're
There's
played.
a buffalo on their helmet.
I don't care. They're
I
named.
do.
They named the team after the man who tried to kill all the
So
Bills,
now you're
all
saying
the Buffalo.
mascot is technically Bill, and
It's
I
Buffalo
would be
Bill.
eating.
The team's name is Buffalo
You'd be
Bill.
eating
That's the
Bill.
mascot.
All right, I don't want to
The
eat
guy.
Bill.
That guy.
Buffalo Bill Cody.
Thanks for.
You got to eat his rifle with it too. I think the correct answer is I said it might be dolphin.
I mean, dolphin would be fine, but dolphins are muscular. You don't get a fat dolphin. There are no
Right.
fat dolphins in the ocean.
But then again, I think
They're in
I mean,
motion at all
it's
times.
not like a swordfish is all fat.
Handsome,
It's-
you might. I'm surprised, Handsome, you don't step up here on behalf because I know you've had it before for a Bronco or for a Colt.
Little colt burger.
Well, no, I have not eaten horse.
You haven't? I thought
I think
you
I
went
have
equine
actually. I have
before.
eaten horse in France. Just a little slither,
How
just
was
to
that?
see what. Not that good.
Yeah.
No, a little gamey.
There you go.
I would eat a falcon as well. I mean, I think
Yeah,
they're
I
endangered
think that's-
species, but I'd roast a
bird.
falcon.
Yeah. Meaty bird.
Yep.
And you could conceivably.
Seahawk.
I think an
They don't
eagle.
exist, Money.
No, it's
It's not a
supposedly
real
the
thing.
osprey, but
I think what you
Eagles
wanna
are
do-
too magnificent. If
No,
you
no,
eat
no.
an eagle, you have a problem with
No,
me.
no, no. If it's a bald eagle, first of all, it's illegal to eat a
Yeah.
bald eagle.
I think it's
in the
illegal
States.
to eat an eagle.
I don't know if that's right. Is
It
it
is.
illegal to eat an eagle?
Yes.
Huh.
Any
It's
eagle.
not legal
Right.
to eat an eagle.
As I've said before, and I'm going to tell you again now, imagine the irony. As a human, you don't want to be bald. But if you're an eagle, you most certainly want to be bald. Because if you're an eagle and you're not the bald one, then you're second-class citizen by definition, right?
So you wouldn't be peppering your head if you're an eagle.
No, I wouldn't.
I feel like we're really limited in these mascots here.
I know the NFL's done a poor job of edible mascots. The
I
other one
still
that
think
people
a
have let
bear
me
is
know
the
about
one.
is the ram.
The
People
ram.
say it's a
Oh,
lamb.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That guy sent you a picture on Twitter of like he literally cooked ram last night and had a dish at it. It was like it was.
Now, you know
retweeted.
what
Oh,
I've
you can
heard.
get it in Mexico, as a matter of fact. Let us know
Right.
how the ram is down in
Let's
Mexico
get a ram
City.
and a bear and we'll just share.
In Mexico. Okay.
I'm with Handsome, though. I'm now suddenly intrigued by the thought of
think a
eating
bear
a
would be
bear.
nice.
Why don't we as a society, by the way, the cows don't do anything. They're a peaceful beast, but the bears, if we go anywhere near them, they'll kill us.
I mean,
They'll kill us
I
without
don't think we
thinking
should-
twice.
I don't think you should be able to get bear in the supermarket, but I think one day a year everyone should be allowed to eat bear if you want to.
We need a new holiday to
Yeah.
the
Seems
start
wildly
of football.
insensitive. I'm not on board with that. It's a majestic creature. We ought to respect it. Okay? Same with the Bengal. I'm not eating a tiger either.
Definitely not.
Damn it.
I didn't say anything about eating a
Yeah, yeah.
tiger.
That's
I don't
crazy.
because that's a cat, and I don't want to eat cat. Bear.
Could I
mean,
sell
that-
the idea that browns are like hash browns?
Well, that's what I was just
know,
thinking.
or
Is
like
like
some browned
I
onions,
think
you know?
we've identified that brown is the best color for food.
Right.
That's where I went.
So
right.
that might be
Peanut
the
butter,
Right.
like that all.
Steak.
chocolate.
Right.
Just chocolate.
Ribs,
I feel like maybe.
roast beef.
You know?
Yep.
You know,
Brown.
pumpernickel.
Yep.
Nice slice of wheat toast.
Brown might be the answer.
Right.
Brown sugar, while not brown, has the word brown.
Enjoy
in it.
that.
Brown sugar
right.
is brown.
It is
What are you,
brown.
wait, what are you talking about?
there's-
How's
yeah.
brown sugar not brown?
I'm not
Sugar
here
is
to be
actually
called out.
brown. They bleach it. That's why
I
you
know.
would rather eat the
I was
brown
kidding.
sugar.
I put brown sugar on top of my head
Hey, now.
every day. Hey, all right. So, do we want to jump to
Could the
Red
Rolling
Challenge
Stones
flag
write
here?
the song Brown Sugar today? I'm going to go with no.
They get pushback.
It says minimal time for tangent. I
Change
just
it,
thought
right.
I would throw that in there.
And
And you're getting straight into the music portion. Of
I'd
the
like
episode.
that. Believe me, I'd love to tackle that one, but I'm still intrigued by the thought of a bear steak.
There'll probably be one, knowing the sway you carry around here, there'll probably be one cooking in the huddle right now.
Right now.
I want to know about that. Do
Special
people
rap,
eat
rap of the
bears?
day.
With your face
Right.
and a voice bubble that says, try the bear,
Try the
chummy. Or something along those lines.
Hey, listen, Booyah, the sandwich maker
He'll do
in
it.
the huddle.
He'll do it.
He and I already teamed up for the world
Right.
famous Booyito, so
Yep.
we have been waiting for our sequel. This might be the opportunity. Okay, before the Red Challenge flag picks, let's do something here. We have, as part of the season initiative with Rock Nation, What Would a Champion Do by Sash. Here, take a quick listen to this,
Okay.
and I want to talk about some music quickly.
More than me, I'm hard to please, and when I'm mad, I'm hard to ease. Pay my dues, I paid the fees. Ready now to say the least. My brother play, he on the keys. We have to beat, he also like the other half of me. This how it had to be, want everything, A to Z. When y'all go out to wait on me, cause I'ma stay inside and cook up like the bakery. You lost it all, I hate to see. Funny, most of y'all that ain't believe, be the ones that's faking, playing make believe. What would a champion do? That's what you should do. How would a champion move? That's how you should move. You should be focused on you.
Oh, there we go. Now we're
There you go.
back. I'm sorry about that. A musical interlude. You know what? We could do worse. We should get a house band for the show going forward. What
Dick
about
Banks.
that? Yeah, we could get
We
the
have
one-man
one.
Yeah.
house band, Dick Banks, in here. We'd love that. Could do a lot worse than that. Eddie Spaghetti is an excuse for us to get into some music. There's no subject that Spaghetti likes better, even in a world of Danny Dimes. He still likes to talk Eddie Vedder and all things
Ugh.
music. Spaghetti, you went. Oh yeah, that's right.
Spaghetti
I
is
forgot.
freaking grunge.
I
It's ass
forgot.
rock.
Money doesn't like Pearl Jam. That's right. And lo and behold, Eddie Spaghetti. Who did you go and see this past weekend?
I saw the lead singer of Pearl Jam this weekend.
He's your favorite. Who do you like better, Eddie Vedder or Danny Dimes?
Oh, it's not close. Come on. One guy started 2 games. One guy's been part of my life for over a decade.
Part of my
Part
life.
of my
man.
life.
Part of my
Sorry, I
life.
like music, Money. What is it? Sorry, I've
No,
attached
you
you
know
to
what? Actually, Eddie, I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Because people fail to recognize that music has to have context, that it plays as a soundtrack to our lives. Special moments in our lives will create a relationship with a band that maybe we otherwise would not
For
have.
our viewers, sorry to the listeners right now, but Eddie Spaghetti, some of his tweets popping up as we talk about this. He went to Ohana Fest. That's in the OC there, Spaghetti?
It's in Doheny, State Beach, Dana
What
Point.
What I like about Spaghetti, he took a couple of his pals down there, but he wore a Mookie Blaylock New Jersey Nets game jersey.
That's what the indie rockers do, which is what you wouldn't wear to a Pearl Jam show.
Their original name was
You would
Mookie
wear
Blaylock.
it. Yeah, I know. I'm well aware of that.
Okay.
All right. Easy there. 10. Which is why don't you tell us why they named the album 10?
That's it.
Because
Mookie.
it was his number.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's their little homage to what they were called. I like that you brought your pool noodle with you. That's
No.
what I like.
They
Just in case you
They
were-
sold them. It's for a poster because I collect art posters, and they
is that what
actually
it is?
sold them. Yeah, you could
Okay.
just keep them safe.
There we go.
Any new music we need to check out? Matt Money Smith, expert music guy, former label fella.
What am I? Yeah, I do like some new music right now. I like the. Where's my single? Hi. I've been listening to some indie rock lately. Spoon's got a new record. I like it. Rex Orange County, a record I like. I'm still listening to the Tame Impala record. What else do I like?
Handsome loves his Radiohead, and he's very progressive with
Radiohead.
his
I'm all right
music
with
tastes.
Radiohead.
Are you hip with Spoon there, Handsome?
I'm not a Spoon fan.
Oh, I love
No,
it.
love
Oh,
Spoon.
I mean, I've heard it.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
Series of Sneaks for me, one of their original, one of their
stuff.
first records. Series of Sneaks, probably in my top 6 or 7 records all time.
This actually works before Handsome gives us his musical preferences because old man Hunter passed away, lyricist for the Grateful Dead. A way to merge these two things, indie rock and the Dead. Day of the Dead, a great set of about 60 songs. Of all the songs, there's a couple, but if you just want to sample it, the War on Drugs cover, A Touch of Grey, is unreal, and the Stephen Malkmus and the Jicks, China Cat, Into I Know You Rider is pretty darn special.
What was
too.
the compilation that's in? There was a previous one which I used to love. I haven't listened-
Dedicated was the original one
No,
way
no, no,
back
no.
when.
This was the same
With Bradford
group of people
Marsalis
that put
on
together.
Eyes of the World. It's
Yes.
great.
The same group of people that put together that compilation did another one.
Well, the
which
National
was-
guys were the ones who kind of did it.
Right, but it was okay. Before
Sorry.
that, there was a different
Yes.
compilation, which I can't remember what it was called, but
Sorry.
same idea.
Yeah, great stuff. So there you go.
Now I have to check out this Malkmus. I'm a big fan of Steve
Oh,
Malkmus.
it's a great China Cat, I Know You Rider.
Oh,
So,
excellent.
hey.
All right. So I thought that
What's
was
that?
like, what was that? Like a C level music conversation? Our little music interlude there?
I mean, I got to insult Eddie a little bit, so I give it a B.
C plus.
You know.
C plus.
You got
I
a
like
couple
it
of low
for the
blows.
Low
zingers
blows.
you threw his way.
Yeah.
That brings us to some more music, namely the Red Challenge flag theme.
Oh, yeah.
Red
Challenge flag picks.
Ow! You're a little late
Woo!
there, handsome.
I was.
Yeah, you.
I think you were a little early, Dave.
Like he was for the show. He's consistent.
I was on time with that, but we haven't the time to go back and try it again this time. Let's start it off with.
God, look how small my head is. I'm now looking
Here,
at the
have one of
monitor.
these.
It's
I've
Dave?
got the pebbliest head.
No,
of anyone
I
on
know,
earth.
I get it. It's passive aggressive.
It is not. It is
It's
a
not
tiny.
that you have
give
a
me the
pebble
three
head.
shot. Director,
You're
give me the
nice
three
and
shot. Look at that.
thin.
Look at my pebble head. It is tiny.
It is small.
It is tiny.
I would say like mine is closer to average. Dave's is
Dave's
fat,
is large, and mine is
and yours is
tiny.
very small.
Painful.
I'm a fat now. I'm the first one to admit it. You know what? I'm having my
But you
weight
can do
issues.
something about that. I can't grow my head. Like
Yeah.
my head will always be
I think you can get head implants.
Beetlejuice style.
I think you could get head implants.
Could I?
Yep.
Okay. That's something I'll look into.
I wish we would have had a picture so you could see the hat Eddie Spaghetti wore to Ohana Fest, because that might
Oh, really?
help solve your small
It was
head
a sun hat, and some guy yelled at me and told me to take it off while we were standing in the GA. I got yelled at twice because my poster tube hit somebody, and then my hat. It was like the worst, the most miserable GA experience I've had.
Well, that's what you get for going to see Pearl Jam.
It wasn't Pearl Jam, it was Eddie by himself. I
Oh,
saw
whatever.
Incubus, Glenn
Yeah, it's
Hansen.
Eddie on a ukulele. Yeah, that's right. I saw your tweet about Incubus, and I threw up in my mouth.
They were good.
In
You guys don't
in our
respect
lifetime,
culture.
is that the worst era of music ever, Money?
Yes.
Yes.
The Disturbed,
Yes.
Korn,
They're not like that.
all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Incubus?
They're not like Korn.
Dude, they got a DJ. Yeah, I mean, Korn's a little more aggressive. Incubus is a little more pop leaning. But yes, I would say if I were to find myself in hell, the soundtrack, which I will, and I am ready to acknowledge that, So I should say, when
When
I
you
find
find
myself
yourself
in hell,
Oh, that's
I'm
it.
gonna open my door, and there on one side is gonna be 311, and on the other side is gonna be Incubus, and they're just gonna play songs.
That
back and
horrible
forth.
And there'll just be a stream of Eddie's
Cranked up to
tweets.
11.
There'll just be a stream of Eddie's tweets, enjoying it all.
Yes. Yes.
Welcome to hell.
Poor
That's right.
spaghetti getting painted with
Yeah,
the ink.
it's
with
so
the,
bad seeing George Harrison and Tom Petty covers and like, all right, guys, move on with your picks.
Wait a
Spaghetti's
minute.
starting to get
He's now
offended now.
resorted to, hey, it's not the original material. It was the covers I
a
was
mix.
into.
It's a mix.
Which you can see at any
poor
bar. Band doing covers.
Look at the eye rolling back in the bathroom is
No respect.
No respect, you're right. No respect.
All right, let's get to it. The one of the big games of this week. There's another juicy slate awaiting our eyeballs, and why don't we just start with the maybe not the headline game, but for me, of course, the best rivalry at least in this century, the Ravens
Still?
at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sure, what
gonna keep
would
that
trump
going.
that? I was gonna. When I started this, I did say Packers and Cowboys, but I don't know that that's a 21st century phenomenon.
Packers and Bears is pretty good.
No.
They had a pretty
Vikings
good
and
run.
Bears.
Packers and Bears.
Packers and Bears had a pretty good run for,
Yeah.
6-7 years this century.
I mean, this really feels like this is Ohio State, Michigan. One of the two, at least, is always playing
It's been good.
for
I will
Yeah,
give you
it's been
that.
good. I'm
play.
It's been
Very
it's been
rarely do
very,
these-
very good.
that one of these teams isn't playing for
Right.
something. And in
Very
this
good.
case, in the mediocre North, both happen to be playing for first place in Week 5. A quick reminder, I feel obliged to say it every time. If you aren't certain which team to root for with your heart, with your spirit, with your soul, on one hand, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers, named for the local steel workers back in the mid-20th century who forged the steel that was used to make the ships and the tanks and the artillery that defeated the Nazi scourge. And if you don't like the Steelers and you don't like Pittsburgh, then you don't like freedom. Go talk to Benito Mussolini. Conversely,
Appreciate you leaving
can-
Hitler
okay.
out of that.
you can go with the Ravens,
Right.
who were named after a poem penned by a New York Boston guy who, at the tail end of his life, moved to Baltimore, got drunk, and died.
In the gutter.
Right. So that's up which way you want to go.
Whichever
is
way
up to
you lean in that thing, then that
Whichever
would be who
you
you'd
think
right.
is easier to support,
Yeah.
then that's how you should make your decision.
Got it.
Handsome,
point.
let's let you start it off
point.
here this time. It's the Baltimore Ravens, your division
Mm-hmm.
champion, as forecasted in August, at the Pittsburgh Steelers with Mason Rudolph. Choose.
I'm going to lean towards the drunk in the gutter for this one. So, yeah, I'll go Ravens.
I'm with you.
Anyone going to throw a flag?
It would
Spaghetti?
only be,
You
it would
gonna
only
take
be
the
you.
Steelers?
It would only be
It
you.
would only be you.
I'd go Steelers.
You go Steelers.
Really? Do you wanna
Spaghetti?
throw
I
something
don't.
at me?
I gotta
No,
take the
it's fine.
Ravens.
As long as James Conner's healthy, I like the Steelers' chances. The defense looked great.
The defense did look very good. Then again, they were playing Andy, and so
Yeah.
that
And
you got
Zach.
to put
That might-
gotta
that
put
might
the
be
Andy and
asterisk
Zach.
Andy and Zach.
and no AJ Green. So big asterisk next to that. And also, I think even Mike Tomlin more or less has conceded since that game that they had to go gimmicky. You can surprise a team for 1 week with the Wildcat.
Right.
They're not going to come out and run Wildcat. I can't imagine they would try it against the Ravens more than
Maybe.
a couple of plays.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that that's their
They might
offensive
try
You
it
know
out.
why?
philosophy.
Because they'd adjust. And you know what else the Ravens aren't going to do? Try to throw 50 screen passes to Joe Mixon when the defense is standing right
Right
there
there.
waiting for him to catch the screen pass. That's
No.
another
Right.
thing the Ravens aren't going
The
to do.
Bungles legitimately ran some play action in the fourth quarter.
There
Down,
was some interesting decisions.
24.
Unreal.
So okay, everybody's going with the Ravens. So
Ravens.
Handsome, why don't you explain why you got them?
Because I think that the Ravens offense is going to be able to score certainly more points than the Bengals were able to on the Steelers defense, and I don't see the Steelers being able to keep up. There's just not enough. It's such a strange phenomenon now to be watching a Steelers team without the firepower that you just take for granted with Pittsburgh for years, that they're always going to have receivers that are going to be able to get open consistently, a running game that's going to be really strong, and a quarterback that can make stuff happen. And just none of those pieces are there at the moment.
Well, despite the tackle numbers that people look at as evidence that a defensive player is playing well or not, Devin Bush was a little lost and a step slow, not physically slow, but was reacting a little slowly. That was his best game on Monday night.
He was fantastic.
He really splashed in that game. And that's what happens with defensive guys. And as the season wears on, it's really, can the Steelers' defensive pieces and can Deontay Johnson on offense, to your point about pass catchers, can they get fully up to speed in the NFL and have the Steelers' record and the Ravens and Browns still be close enough to catch them?
I think this game's going to be close. I don't have that faith in Lamar Jackson. If this defense plays to their potential, I think it'll be a tight game.
If Devin Bush is loose, if the front three can eat up the blockers and have Devin Bush free, that's what is going to nullify Lamar Jackson and the speedsters behind him there. Yeah, ultimately, I'll take the Ravens. They got embarrassed defensively. I think they step back up against the backup QB. Spaghetti, though, is going with the Steelers, eh?
My one question, though, is what's been going on with Juju? Like, why has he not been involved? I feel like if you get Juju going, and then Connor, like I said, as long as Connor's healthy, then it's...
Take him out.
Take him away.
That's it. That's what you do. Take him away.
I do think that they are starting to figure out, as you can see, based on targets, based on opportunities in the game, number of snaps. Deontay Johnson, the third-round pick, is a poor man's Antonio Brown right now. I'm not going to compare the two, but they have similar skill sets. And I think that he's starting to rise up a little bit and make it. And then they need Vance McDonald. They need some more targets out there for the kid. Anyhow, let's move on. And there's so many great ones you could look at. You could talk about Bart Starr was that December of '66, and then Don Meredith throws the interception in the end zone that would have sent the Cowboys to Super Bowl II to play the Raiders. And instead, like I say, I think Herb Adderley picks that one off. And so the Packers go to their second straight. You can jump all the way to the Des Bryant non-catch. And then most recently, a game of significance, the Cowboys were supposed to win it. Dak Prescott, in his rookie year, bested by the best in the game. Aaron Rodgers with that roll out to the left. That set up Mason Crosby for this.
This to send the Packers into the NFC Championship game. It is good! The Packers are moving on! Aaron Rodgers has done it again! And Mason Crosby, a hero for Green Bay.
Side.
That was no good the entire way until the final 10 feet.
Yeah.
And then it was good, which is funny when you watch it and you can see the people behind the uprights like cheering because it's a miss, and then all of a sudden it's like, God darn it, what just happened?
Well, most kickers play a hook. They play a draw. But he faded that one in there. And amazing, and it reminds me also of how narratives get forged and then people have a really hard time escaping them. Dak Prescott going into this season was like, well, can he do it though in big spots? He did it against the Packers in that game, and he punctuated what would have been the game-winning drive with a QB draw. Were it not for 12 there pulling that one out with a miraculous play, then we would talk about Dak Prescott. We would already have been talking about it.
We know he does do it.
And by the way, I don't care that much that they lost to the Saints. I don't hold that against the Cowboys. But let's talk about this one right now. Matt Money Smith, it's the Packers, it's the Cowboys, both now with one blemish in the loss column. Choose.
I'm going Cowboys.
Handsome, come on, do something cool.
No, I mean, I genuinely didn't know what my answer was going to be, but I think just the Cowboys being at home, like this is going to be as close as that.
That stinks because I got to take the Cowboys too. They're my Super Bowl pick. That's not necessarily.
Yeah, well, they're my Super Bowl pick too. So I'd be crazy to suddenly
the
go
reason
against
why.
them
All right,
at home.
Money, it's you're up. Explain to Spaghetti. By the way, who you got?
I'm actually going to go with the Packers.
Spaghetti's the one
He
wild.
loves it.
Because
Eddie loves
There we
it.
go.
We should give him one of these
I
flags
agree,
one day.
Spaghetti. You got to
See
bring
if he can
a
reach
flag
us
for
from the
yourself.
bathroom.
I don't need the limelight.
Here.
You guys do it.
Real quick.
Come in,
No,
come in
see if
and
you can
throw
get
it,
to me.
Spaghetti.
See if you
Okay.
can throw
Get
it
it
from
to
the
me, Eddie. Come
bathroom
on,
all
right
the
here.
way. No.
Spaghetti,
sit
come
down.
here.
Sit back down. Sit
Sit
back
down.
down.
First, you got to hit Handsome because you won
then I'll
against
throw it
his
back.
AFC North
Okay,
pick.
okay.
sure,
No,
I
you were
won't.
trying to hit
Sure.
money that time. Here's another flag for you. Thank you.
Come on.
Now you got to hit me.
Drop it between two defenders. Over the
Like
back.
Danny Dimes.
Do it like
Oh,
Dimes.
you got
in
it!
the leg.
Congratulations.
All right.
All
Just
right,
the-
explain.
Just the simple reason, because I think it's the part of the season where we start talking about Aaron Rodgers in a positive light again and less about the defense and what they've accomplished there. And then reversely, the part of the season where we talk about the Cowboys, do we trust them? Are they struggling? And Jerry Jones gets involved in the media. That's my real answer. I just think it has to happen at some point in the season. Not that it's going to derail the Cowboys at all. I think they're a great team. But the Packers will sneak out like a 3-4-ish point victory on the road.
Money?
Well, it'll be tight. I think that LaFleur and Rodgers still have issues, and they don't quite know what that offense is. I'm worried about. I know you like to always make light of the old turf toe and point out that it's called turf toe, yet it is a debilitating injury for a position like wide receiver when you rely on your toes to make your cuts and get in and out of breaks. So
It doesn't sound that bad.
the idea that no Devontae Adams is serious. I wish Jimmy Graham could figure out how to catch passes for Aaron Rodgers. That's been a problem. And I think the offensive line will be able to keep that defensive line in check. And again, like the Ravens-Steelers game, it'll be close. But I suspect the Cowboys will win a tight one.
By the way, with the Cowboys, the thing that people continue to not talk about, which is a weird thing because it's now been a half decade, maybe even year 6 for Rod Marinelli. But once again, this defense is showing up. Look at I know it's Teddy Bridgewater and everything else, but look what they did to Alvin Kamara. I mean, Kamara had some splashy plays there, but it's not as though he was making decisive. Obviously, he didn't get into the end zone, nor did anyone else there. That defense is for real. No Devontae Adams. And the other thing that's been very quiet is the guy who they had to have and they had to break the bank to get just before the season was Zeke Elliott. He hasn't been prominent yet, but at some point that's going to start to rise up and deeper into the season. Right. Not that October counts as that, but I do think at some point Zeke is going to have a signature type game.
Yep.
So I'll take the Cowboys at home as well. Let's go to Monday night.
Now it's you.
And it's the Browns.
Oof.
It's the 49ers. Choose,
Dave.
I'm taking Jimmy G at home. Oh,
How did I miss you?
No, you're going to stick with the.
I threw it.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't
did,
feel
yeah.
it.
Even though I took the Browns to win the division, I think this is going to be one of their losses.
Got to work on that arm strength there, man. I didn't even feel the flag.
Well, I didn't want to hurt you. I just kind of. It's right behind you here. Can we do it again?
No.
Go ahead. Say Browns.
I'm going to take the Niners.
No, he said the Niners.
I said the Niners.
Yeah.
Oh, then I should.
He
have
said
I
the
said
Browns.
the Browns.
So
I threw-
Handsome and Spaghetti. Who do you have?
Hank threw it for me. I'm going with the Browns on the road.
Okay, Handsome, explain.
I think that the Browns defense, this is exactly the kind of game where Jimmy Garoppolo is going to struggle. He just doesn't get, he hasn't had many opportunities in his career to see defenses this good, and I think that they're going to give him a hard time.
I feel like we talk about all the time. Something I say always: if you're a fan of a certain team and they're doing well or they're doing poorly, it's always about that team. I think the thing that they're going to find out, the Browns this time around, is that that defensive front for San Francisco is for real. That front seven is for real. That's a bad matchup, obviously, for Cleveland. They're going on the road. I think that it's easy to pump the brakes on the Niners a little bit based on the fact that they kind of should have lost to Pittsburgh last time we saw them. But that was wonky stuff. They kept dropping the ball, and maybe you can attribute that to an active Steelers defense and trying to force turnovers more, as much as a team can try and force turnovers. They shot themselves in the foot repeatedly. I don't anticipate that happening, especially after a week off. I know the Browns are feeling good about themselves, but the practical matchup is bad for them, especially that offensive line. The Niners defense is another defense nobody is talking about, but it is loaded. And I say the Niners win it and remain undefeated.
I'm with you. To me, it's, the offensive line of the Browns combined with the defensive front of the 49ers and D Ford and Nick Bosa and Buckner, and even Armstead's playing well. Those two guys interior, Armstead and Buckner, are playing fantastic. I think that's the difference. We forget the Browns have serious offensive line issues. And, that's, again, I keep saying it, it's going to be tight. It's probably going to be turnover. Look, the Steelers forced, 5 turnovers against the 49ers and could not win that game because the defense was so good. And I think that's kind of...
I think that's exactly right. And if you watch To Get Micro, Alejandro Villanueva has been a nice left tackle for the Steelers for the most part, but I mean, Nick Bosa trucked him. I mean, he just pushed him around in an embarrassing fashion. And that's just the start of things with that defense, with Bosa coming on and getting healthy, and like what you say, D Ford. And I mean, that front seven is for real.
But flipping it around the other way, I'm not sure that I see the 49ers offense suddenly getting off to and having a great game against
I just believe in
the
Kyle
Browns
Shanahan.
defense.
Yep.
I mean, I think he's so good. He's in the conversation, with Andy Reid and those guys as the best play caller in the league, and I think he'll figure it out. It just a way to put them in the best position to win the game. They have enough talent.
Yep.
They do. I mean, Joe Staley being out's not great with Myles Garrett there, but I have a little bit. I just have faith that that he can figure something out.
Talking about figuring it out, how much internally do you think is happening with the Browns with Odell Beckham saying, okay, we won, but figure it out how you're going to get me the ball more and how you're going to give me more
completely agree
opportunities.
that, so they got away with it this week, 2 touches or 2 targets or whatever for Odell.
That's not sustainable for him.
Nobody's complaining.
Right.
See, that Freddie Kitchens has a handle on all that. Yeah, that's because Odell was busy talking about almost getting strangled and throwing punches with a foe. That's why they didn't. That's why in the post game they weren't focused on how many targets he did or didn't get. They were too busy asking him about yet another imbroglio with the defensive back.
You're the suit around here that knows
really?
the people up top. Can we get Richard Sherman mic'd up for this one and get the raw
Ooh,
footage
that would
of
be
that?
fun, wouldn't it?
When he's standing across from Odell, just
Trying to wind him up.
winding him up. I think that would be that'd be something we really need.
Yeah, pull those strings, Hanson. Would
Okay,
you do that?
I will. I'll make a couple
Please.
calls.
Let's move on. In the meantime, the spaghetti special. It's the Minnesota Vikings struggling with Kirk Cousins. You know who's not struggling? Dimes. Danny Dimes.
Why don't we have Eddie pick this?
Eddie, you do it.
It's the Vikings at the Giants, both 2-2. Choose.
Am I about to get pelted by 3
Yes,
flags?
you are.
Oh, I hope you
The answer
say
to that
it.
is
I hope
resounding
you're
yes.
that kooky.
Giants are going to win at home.
Bring
it. Bring it.
Homer. How could
No.
you pick the Giants?
What are you thinking?
How
Go
many,
ahead,
how many
explain.
reasons do you need?
What do you think?
How many reasons do you need? Just
Daniel
one.
Jones
Danny
has been one of
Dimes.
the best third down quarterbacks in the league since he came in.
2 games, Eddie.
Golden Tate's coming back.
Ooh.
I mean,
Is
Jerome,
Saquon coming back?
Yeah.
He's out of-
Can
did
you
you see
throw
him
my
prac-
flag
he
back? If
practiced
Golden
today.
Tate's going to be playing, I might need that flag back.
Gallman was fine in his absence. I mean, Janoris Jenkins won, NC Defensive Player of the Week last week. He had
Who is
a
he
rough
playing?
start.
Who's
Redskins
Janoris
offense is bad,
squared
but-
up against?
But all right, but he was graded still the highest grade of his career.
By who?
By PFF. Dexter Lawrence is becoming a 3-down defensive lineman. What else we got? Jabril Peppers had arguably the best game of his career last week too. Again, I know it's versus the Redskins.
Against one of the 3 worst teams in the league.
So you think Kirk Cousins now is going to go? All right, I'm going to start slinging the ball for 4 or 5 touchdowns.
I think he's going to look dramatically better than he did against arguably the best defense in the league, save the Patriots. And they might be better than the Patriots defense. I do think he will look dramatically better.
I think the Giants do a good job versus Dalvin Cook in the run, stopping the run. I don't. If it's a game where Daniel Jones has to make plays now with Tate back and Sterling Shepard, who's looked great, and the rookie Darius Slayton's made some plays along with Evan Ingram and Gallman, who can catch the ball, I honestly right now will rather pick Daniel Jones to make offensive plays than Kirk Cousins.
Here's by the end of the first quarter, or like I bet like
That's just nuts.
8 to 10
That is
minutes
just
into the game,
crazy.
it'll be 10 or 14 nothing Vikings.
Yes, it's
because what
crazy
they'll come
talk.
out to do is the Giants will certainly sit on Dalvin Cook and they'll have 10 men in the box. They're not even going to cover people. They're just going to be like,
Adam
beat us, Kirk,
Thielen
and then-
will have a 60-plus yard touchdown within
Thielen
the
was
first
just
quarter.
screaming
I
at
think that's
Cousins.
what's gonna happen.
And they're gonna figure it out. The pressure's on them to figure it out.
Yeah, pressure's on. And,
You
and
figure it
Danny
out,
Dimes is
Eddie.
home. It's going to be great. It's going to be so good. Oh, man, when they win this game, you guys are all
I
gonna
hope you're right,
Yeah.
Spaghetti.
Yeah.
It's more
so
fun
good.
when the Gents are winning.
So good. Let me tell you guys, when they win this thing, man, it is going to be something.
It's going to be sweet.
Forget the Skins game. Go back to the second half of the Buccaneers game. Buccaneers look great versus the Rams.
They
Betcher
did.
figured it out in the second half. They gave up nothing. It's a different team.
I will give you the point that, yes, this team has responded to the insertion of Daniel Jones in a manner that they were not interested in responding to Eli Manning earlier in the season. But front to back, Vikings defense is pretty darn good.
Oh, on paper,
and
without
that
a
is
doubt.
that
On paper.
No,
I mean-
on the field.
Actually on the football
Actually
field as
on
well.
the football field. It has been the offense that has let them down. They completely shut down the Bears. The Vikings should have won that game if Kirk Cousins was at all competent. They shut down Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, and Kirk Cousins made bonehead mistake after bonehead mistake in the red zone because the Packers' defense is pretty good, especially on the back end. That's not the Giants.
Eddie's furious with you.
No, I picked the Packers weeks ago to be the best team in the NFC, but they look
Congratulations.
they look like crap right now.
No problem. I still got the Yanks.
And the Rangers are back.
Yeah. The blue shirts are coming. Capo, Caco, look out, NHL. I think that.
And don't get me started on the Knicks. The other guys are my guys.
We have. Interesting, Kleinman whispers into my ear there. Speak up, join the show, Kleinman. Don't whisper into my ear. That's a good observation. It's Twin Cities v. Manhattan or five boroughs all over the place because it's the Twins and the Yanks getting it on as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
By the way, any of those Twins pitchers would be better quarterbacks than Kirk Cousins at this point. And as I've said, my essay, my reality check this weekend on Good Morning Football is all about the phenomenon of backup QBs, Minshew mania, Mason mania, and all the rest of it. I think the answer is obvious. It's right there in front of you, Mike Zimmer. Mannion mania. You know?
Mannion mania.
Hey, get that angry beef out there. I'm happy for. I'd love to see Sean Mannion in a game. Absolutely.
All right, let's bring it on home. 25 years after they first joined the NFL,
It's
and
been
then
25 years, eh?
yeah,
How about that?
yeah, 25 years.
Seems like just yesterday.
Doesn't it though?
It does.
Which franchise would you rather be? If you
After 25 years.
the
Well, he'd
Jags
rather
are
be the Jags because
I'd
he gets to
rather
go
be
to
the
London
Jags.
multiple times
Yeah.
a year.
Well,
That's true.
Once. But
So,
yes.
like, explain which franchise. Like, what constitutes
Like,
this answer?
which
Like,
one
what
of
am
them
I-
would be tastiest roasted?
Oh.
Ooh.
So that's close.
I mean, I would assume they taste pretty much the
I
same,
think they
right?
would do.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
those
I
spots
think
are
Panther.
they like
It's a
pepper?
I
little
would
bit
go with
meatier.
Panther, yeah,
It's a little
like-
meatier.
Jaguar is just a little bit. It's more sinewy.
Right.
But if
Right.
the spot has some flavor to
It
it,
doesn't.
well, how do you know? What are you? You've eaten Jag?
I'm just saying, I would assume the spot. You're not
don't
eating
know.
the
The
skin.
spot is
The
not.
skin comes off. You're eating the meat
Right.
under
You
it.
don't know
The
what
spot
I'm-
is
you don't know
is
what I'm
fur
eating
that's the
off
top
that
of the
thing.
Right.
skin.
I'm gonna have it on a spit,
Right.
you know, roasting it around. Yes, and you know what was the crazy weird thing that almost happened that would have been terrible for pro football is the 2 years. Wait, actually, was it their second year?
The Panthers.
The Panthers and Jags were in
Right.
the title
We're in
game.
the title game.
If they had won either one of those, that would have been terrible for the league. Yeah, you can join and you'll be in the Super
but-
Bowl in about 18
But I mean,
months.
they definitely got an advantage over other expansion teams compared to the Bucks, who were the team to join before
That's
and who
right.
went forever without even being able to get a win. And then because they did so well, I think when the Texans came in and the Browns came back, they were penalized pretty
Terrible,
heavily.
yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we cannot have these
It was
teams
like,
be this
let's
good.
flip. We got to
Right.
flip the
this
script. We don't
quickly.
want that happening.
That's right.
again.
It was the Patriots. Drew Bledsoe vanquished the Jags,
Right.
and on the other side, the Packers took care of
Kerry
the
Collins and
Panthers.
the
Yep,
Panthers.
that's right. Anywho, now it is these
Not
two
Kerry
teams.
Collins, Steve Berline.
That's right.
Aha. By the way,
mistake.
very quickly, I don't want to detour too long here, but I don't know if I ever got your thoughts on this. We talked with one Maurice Jones-Drew
I know.
right after the Jaguars announced their 50 best players in their 25 years. Did you happen to see where Maurice came in there?
I think he was fourth.
Came in
Is
at
that right?
fourth. Yeah. Jimmy.
Came in at fourth, so Baselli,
Fred Taylor's got to be
right?
above him.
Fred Taylor.
Easily a better running back than Maurice at any stage of his career.
Sure.
Baselli.
Fred Taylor.
Fred Taylor.
Baselli's number one.
Right.
Fred Taylor.
Baselli. I thought Fred Taylor didn't like it. Neither did Maurice.
Where was
Baselli
Freddie?
was ahead of both of them.
Well, yeah, he was
He
the
was-
best
he was
left
the-
tackle of his era.
Right.
He played for like 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, he played
And he
in
was
relevant
better than
amount of
anyone
years.
during
he
those
was
5
the
years.
best left tackle,
Right.
an absolute wrecking machine.
I'm telling Maurice what you guys said.
He knows.
He knows. He
Maurice
understands.
Maurice feels he should have
Wait,
been
so
one.
who else was-
Even though he
who else
also
was
will
there?
tell you that Fred Taylor was better.
Who else was there?
And Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy Smith.
That's also a slap in the face
Where was
of
Jimmy?
Mark Brunell.
Was Jimmy two? No, Brunel.
Jimmy was three, right behind
Fred Taylor was two.
Yeah.
Then
Jimmy
Jimmy
three.
Smith. Then Maurice. Maurice will vouch for himself.
Who was
and say,
five?
Hey now, I was playing. I was out there by myself.
Hey
he was
now.
out there with me. Baselli had Fred Taylor, who had Jimmy Smith, who had Keenan McCardell, who had Mark Brunell. Who'd I have out there with me?
Who was 5?
I don't remember.
Who was
I think
40?
it was Brunell.
Who was 45?
I think Brunell should be ahead of him.
I would love to know which Jags came in at 40 through 50.
After 17, they're like, yeah, it's all the same.
Jonathan Cyprian.
Right?
I do think their kicker made the list. One of their kickers
Is that
made
right?
the list.
Scobie?
I think it was Scobie, who, by the by, one of
Maurice's
Maurice's
kid's
son's
favorite player.
It's so great.
The kicker, not his dad.
Over Maurice.
All right, let's get to it then. It's the Jaguars. It's the Panthers. Handsome. Choose.
I'm going to go with the Jaguars.
You know what? I'll throw it. I'll
Okay.
throw it for
Fine.
fun. I'll throw it for fun. The defense is playing well. This is another trend, as much as you can read into it. The defenses are getting the better of the offenses. Is that fair to say so far this season? That with the exception of
No
KC
preseason
and
is
a couple.
hurt. No preseason has hurt the offenses. They are still shaking the rust off. Let's make sure we make that point.
I agree with that, and that was the caveat I laid down. I have always said that ignore preseason. It's a lie for your eyes. It's the Civil War reenactment. I now think we have to advance that into the month of September because guys are getting so few reps in those preseason
That's what I mean.
games.
Let's get them some reps.
Yeah.
Please.
But football guys will tell you, the football players will tell you, the offense has the advantage for the first half of the year until they get enough tape, and then the defenses rise up in the second half of the year. Ergo, the defenses at least are ahead of schedule here. And by the way, the Panthers have a good defense. We just saw that in Houston once again. And Kyle Allen isn't setting the world on
Pretty
fire,
good.
at least. He was
He's-
fine.
yeah, he's
Pretty
fine.
good.
He was fine. But, I mean, I don't know.
Minshew-esque.
Yeah, I guess
Not quite. Not quite.
I mean,
Minshew.
4
Without
touchdowns
the
against
dramatics.
the Cards. Lit them up really good. Made a few nice plays to get the win against the Panthers. I do want to ask, though, much more important than football analysis from
This
these
is a
4
hard
big
one to have a
brains.
strong feeling for either way.
Of all the words that we Americans butcher, Hank,
Yep.
where does, and I think it's important to point out because it is a pet peeve of mine, I don't know how anyone can get Jaguar
Yeah, that's
out
not,
of
that's wrong.
that spelling.
Right.
It really upsets me when people say Jaguar, but where does the mispronunciation of Jaguar fall into
mean,
your
it's-
disappointment in
I'm
American
disappointed by more things than that.
It is.
Aluminium is number one. When you guys
Aluminium.
come up with some aluminum, that doesn't make any
Aluminium
sense. Aluminium
is one.
is one.
English. Ahead
That's
of,
a pretty
ahead
strong
of
one.
commentary,
I mean,
and literally I could see being upsetting. Literally.
yeah, but that
be
I mean,
upsetting.
I don't know. I've got over that. Aluminium is a word that I don't hear very often when it's said here. The other one is vitamin. Like, come on, it's vitamin. That's
Not
how
vitamin.
it's spelled, not vitamin.
There is no Y.
No.
It's VI.
My kids were
Vitamin.
just talking to
Vitamin.
me about this a couple of days ago, and I said it really is American arrogance, American narcissism that people without irony do say to British people, you're mispronouncing that word. Like, it's our language.
Right.
It's in there in the title. It's English. You guys are the ones doing it wrong. Herb. Who are we to have changed those things?
Yeah, why-
It's very
where did the
strange
H
that
go?
We saw fit to just change pronunciations.
I
to our
also had
liking.
another, it wasn't an epiphany, just I guess a moment of pause with all the coverage, and this is not a political commentary. This is simply an observation.
Thank you, Money.
As they were discussing the impeachment inquiry, they were playing tapes from Nixon's impeachment and his resignation. And the newscaster comes on, and as he's delivering the news of the day, he sounds like it's 1920. And here you see Richard Nixon as he steps to the lectern and accepts his fate. And many thought this day would never come, yet here he is, the President of the United States, accepting his fate, and his resignation has been. When did we
Just get
stop?
loose?
Yes. When did we get loose with it and we no longer speak like that? When that is what carried us from like 1900
You're
to
right.
clearly 1973, 74, 70. When did it, was it 80? Was it 81?
Disco, Mr. Kater's class, you know, those
Right.
major influences that we
Something
haven't
happened.
rebounded from fully yet.
And I think that's how we
Well,
arrived
I mean,
at.
that's why I strongly believe that the Brits should come back over here and sort of do some
Yeah.
re-education program.
I got an idea. Why don't you freaking worry about Brexit, huh? Why don't you get that sorted
Well,
out?
we might just Brexit our way
Yeah.
over here
Why don't you
instead.
get that sorted out?
And by the way, I'm with money
You
on
and your
that.
boy
Although,
Boris, huh? Figure that one out.
As a great American patriot, I do have to stand up for how obnoxious then the English get about the word Jaguar, because they have identified that, like you point out, as a terrible. So yes, Americans too often Jaguar. That's not right. But then they get so fancy with it that now it's an unrecognizable word when the British guy says in the commercials for the car, they go, it's a Jaguar. That's now like, well, that doesn't mean anything either. Get the 2019 Jaguar. You know? Anyway, tell us more about this impeachment stuff, Money.
No. Nothing to do with
All right,
it.
we'll,
Nothing to do with it.
We'll call it quits.
Well, why are we calling it quits? There's another game. There's a game in London that I'm going to. Why did we decide not to?
You're flying out this week.
Tonight.
Is
Why
that
are we
right?
not? The Bears are playing the Raiders in Tottenham, the brand new stadium in London.
And Handsome eats the loser.
I'm not eating a Raider. That would be disgusting.
That's another.
That is the worst.
Next week, that's the one we did.
Yeah.
Which one do you least want to eat?
I'll tell you now. That Raider has not washed in months.
Yeah,
Wow,
definitely
I'll
not the
do you
Raider.
one better.
Not the Raider.
Definitely not the Raider.
Want a Viking?
Oof, same thing.
I don't know, but you're talking about fat. You're talking about
fat.
You're talking about needing a bit of little fat.
no,
Those
not
Vikings
doing
have
that
been
either.
eating well. Like what you're eating is what the Viking ate. The Raider, who knows
Are they
when
busy
the Raider
rowing the whole way across
Rowing?
the sea?
And what do you think
No,
they're
they're
doing?
pillaging.
Taking breaks to shower? I mean, you're
Yeah.
gonna. Ugh.
They're pillaging.
Although then again, it's like the animals we eat. Turns out they don't shower either. They're filthy animals, and yet
Right.
they still taste pretty good.
If anyone has any info on what a bear tastes like and how best to prepare it, please drop the DDFP a line.
Yeah, do.
Because I am now at minimum intrigued by it.
Someone listening within earshot right now has eaten bear.
My favorite,
Certainly.
by the way,
I
one
would
last
guess.
thing.
For sure.
Everybody's taking the Bears. No one's going to take the Vikings.
No.
I mean, no one's
Or
going
the
to take the
Raiders.
Raiders. Although, I don't think it's crazy.
There is no although.
Yes, there is.
Come on.
I mean, the although is Chase
That
Daniel
was some-
and how many
Doesn't
points
matter.
they're going to put up.
Defense is going to score 14.
Okay.
Know what I mean?
But the Raiders'
Fair,
performance last week in Indianapolis was a surprise.
It was.
Those
Yeah.
teams that are defense
Most definitely
dominant,
was.
the defense dominant teams, they show up in January and they impose their will and all that kind of rhetoric on whoever their foe is. But over the course of a season, those teams lose wonky games to
Right.
bad teams because of the nature of their games.
And
They
London's
play
a
in
wonky
everything.
game.
And
nip
here's a
tuck
little
like that.
insight. The Raiders flew from Indianapolis on Sunday night to London. They've been eating eggs and bacon every morning. They've had
They have?
Yep, they've had some.
Oh, I didn't
some-
know.
well, I'm sure they have. I mean,
Man, you know
what
some
else have they been doing?
details on what they're
You
doing.
know, they've had their Weetabix every day. These guys are ready to roll. The Bears are turning up on Friday. They won't have even had a chance to have fish and chips by the time the game kicks
or maybe
off.
some dolphin, at least. That's good.
Right.
They're going over to
Exactly.
Atlanta,
Or a
maybe they'll get
jaguar.
themselves
Or a
one of
bear.
those.
I'd love to see what those spots taste like.
Completely unnecessary thing to mention. Do you remember the game though when it was one of the nastiest games ever in the 80s of the Raiders at the AstroTurf Soldier Field to play the Bears, and Jim McMahon got a lacerated spleen.
Ooh.
Yes.
And
Nothing
they had
worse
no
than-
and Steve Fuller got hurt, and for the entire second half they just direct snapped to Walter Payton, the
Fine moment.
Not a bad
It was a
idea.
fine moment.
Remember that?
Yes.
That was a crazy game, and the Bears won it, if I'm not mistaken. Anywho, enough about that. Handsome Hank, safe travels across the sea, back to your homeland there. Great stuff as always. Matt Money Smith, best to your Chargers. Eddie Spaghetti, I'm going to be rooting for your fellas. I'm not mean like these guys are.
Thank you, I
I'd like to see
appreciate
Danny Dimes keep it going here. Same to you, Mason Rudolph. I'm on board with these backups.
Just breathe, Eddie. It'll
We'll
be
talk
all right.
to you after Week 5 in front of Week 6. Until then, thanks so much, football fans. It's been a thin slice of heaven.